My name's Jeff Harness, and clearly I'm an Abrsm examiner, and I've had a very nice time here for this last week. I'm going to give you this presentation. I'm not going to spend, I don't want you to feel that we're going to be here for a very long time. So I'm going to be as quick as I can be, and hopefully what I'm going to say and the slides that will come up will make sense and be some help. I may just play the piano a little bit, but only a very small amount. And at one point, I may well ask Sonia to come up and say a few words. But as you can see, can you all see this okay? It's all fine. And it's called Assessing Musical Performance. But that's not necessarily all that we'll talk about. So let's make a start and see what happens. There is as we have sound, let's see, how do I get it to play the sound?
Spacebar.
Spacebar. Spacebar. Let's see what happens here.
Here's a question. Can you feel the power of music when you take away the sound? We think so. Even in silence, the magic of music can be felt if you know where to look. We feel it behind every note, every beat, every chord. All the quiet moments that came before. Small steps, learning, growing, provoking ideas and creativity. Having the courage to try, to build confidence, to connect with others. Music isn't measured in the notes we play, but in the lives it touches, in the sparks of imagination it ignites, in the places it can take you. We celebrate growth, not just perfection. When music lets someone find and unlock their potential, a place where everyone...
The conferences and seminars. I'm a trainer and a moderator. I used to be called a moderator, a reviewer, so I've sort of seen lots of people come through that process, and I have to say now the quality of the trainees as they come from the initial weekend of training, I think, is higher than it's ever been. And we're training younger people as well, so it's a great thing. So there is lots of really good stuff going on, but it's a very well monitored system. And then every 2 years we are given another professional review, every examiner, and if there are little things that are not quite working, I sit and I listen to recordings of exams and listen to whether the examiner is giving the correct oral test rubrics, whether they're asking the right number of scales, whether they're being nice to people, etc., etc. And then we read their comments and assess their marks. So it's a very rigorous process. So you can be rest assured that examiners are well trained and well monitored. Now, we don't specialist examiners, but the syllabuses are put together by specialists. The recent brass syllabus that came out in 2023, I think I was consultant on that, and we spent a lot of time with other colleagues, other brass playing colleagues, going through, finding the repertoire. This time we changed the way that the scales work, the way that the sight reading works, all sorts of things, and this happens on a fairly regular basis with all of the instruments and some of the things have been there for a very long time, and they're gradually getting through. The percussion syllabus, I think, had been the same since the 1990s and has now been refreshed finally. But there are very few percussion exams, so it's one of those things that tends to not be so high priority. And we make sure that the levels are standardised, so that you have grade 1 pieces now. There'll be a new, or there was an old, previous syllabus. There'll be a new syllabus. That those levels are similar, different pieces, but we make sure that the level of difficulty is still the same. Diagnostic value. That's a good word, isn't it? I'll try and explain it. This is models of marking. So there are three things there, three different ways of doing it. You can say the person comes into the room, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's music exams or any sort of test, and you can say, right, you're going to come into the room and the top mark is 100, and we're just, every time you make an error, then we're just going to take marks off, and so it gradually comes down. The other way is to say, well, we're going to start from 0, so you've got to prove to us every moment that you're going to add something to your mark, and that's going upwards. What we do at Abrsm, and there we go. That's fairly obvious, but the comments on the mark form, in addition to the mark, give just a number is not very meaningful to anyone. If I just write a number, and this used to, many years ago, in the dark days of Abrsm examining, where sometimes there would just be a mark and something, one word comment saying, good, 27. Well, that's not much use to anyone. So what we, of course, therefore, our comments show you the reason for the mark and should hopefully match the mark criteria. And did we get handouts? Did you get handouts of the criteria? Have we got those somewhere? Sorry, they're putting me on the spot now. I'll show you just a second. I'll just get. Actually, I can go through it. There's this, which is what I have on my desk. And hopefully you may get a copy of it in a moment. I'm going to go back to where we started. And these are the 5 things. So we start. Are you singing or playing in tune? On the piano, pianists, intonation is not a problem for you, because if you play a note, it's not going to change. But if I was to sing a note and go la without rhythm, pitch, it doesn't make much sense. I would sing you a tune, but I won't do all that. We haven't got time. Tone. Are you making a good sound? Are you varying the sound? Are you doing dynamics? Are you giving the music colour and shape? And the shape is related to the tone, really. So we want to make a good sound, and then control the tone, and then by doing that we come up with shape to the music. That is dynamic shaping, it's phrase shapes, etc., etc. And then performance is, do you look confident? Are you committed to it? Is there a sense that you're performing? And that is also a very important element. And if you go to a concert and see someone performing, stand up and play a solo, and they sort of walk on stage rather looking a bit timid, and then stand and don't look very confident, as an audience, you're immediately going to be thinking, oh dear, this doesn't look very good. I wonder what's going to happen. Whereas if you walk on stage and you're confident, then the message becomes already, before you even start playing, this person looks like they know what they're going to do here. And there is a sense of commitment there. So those are the 5 things. P, T, T, S, P. And there we go. These are pretty obvious. So it's a waltz or a minuet or something. You need to be able to feel that you might be able to dance to that. It's dance music. You want to have that sense of it. And if you go too slowly or too quickly, it becomes difficult. And there we go. And that's the sort of general feeling. Okay. So a pass is generally controlled, largely controlled, fully controlled. It all makes sense, really. And there we go. If you don't have these, well, you've just been given, hopefully, hands out. Take it away with you and have a look. And if you haven't, And it's also usually in all the syllabuses, although you probably don't get the paper ones much these days. So I'm not going to go into detail. I think it sort of speaks for itself once you look at that. And of course what we do is read across each of those. And the marked bands there on the left-hand side, 20, etc., etc. If you look at it, it all makes sense what's happening. So it starts pitch. We've got in the merit band there. It goes up for the time and stays up there for the tone, and then it starts to come down a bit. Not looking very involved, so it comes down. So that, if that was the shape of a piece, that would probably end up being in somewhere towards high merit. Do you see what I mean? So it's with several wrong notes, but then everything else is good, and that will push you up. But it won't mean that you're at the distinction level. It will just bring you down a little bit. Okay. Would you like to hear something, and then using your criteria? I will do this. I'll just play this one, and then I might do a little bit of demonstrating on the keys. But have a listen to this exam and look at the criteria, listen to the performance. Imagine you're me sitting there, and you need to decide. I don't want you to come up with a number. I just want you to come up with pass, merit, distinction, or below pass, and see what you think. So here we go. Yeah, so I'm not going to ask people to put their hands up and say what they thought, but just have a little chat for about a minute with your neighbour and decide one another. I know this is one of those moments where people go, oh no, I've got to speak now. But I don't want you to speak to me. Just have a little chat amongst yourselves, and then I will reveal the answer in a moment. Anything about it. So if someone comes in to do scales and you say, right, scale of C major please, and they just sit there. Okay, so as soon as you attempt something, that's already 7 marks. And we work on the third. You can work out the marks work on thirds. Yeah. Highly unlikely that is going to happen. But likewise with sight reading, if someone comes in and they don't actually attempt anything, then that is 0. But as soon as they attempt something, these are more examples. I'm not going to do these. No. We'll just. What I might do in a moment is just. No, we don't want to do that either. No. There we go. This is a good message. And there we go. Summative is a funny word, but that, you know what that means, really. So we have this sort of, the whole thing, add it all up and see what we think. Control of rhythm and pass. Reliable control or sufficient control. That doesn't really mean much. But what's sufficient and what's good and what's very good and what's excellent? We need something, the descriptors to be a little bit more. And I think that's what's good about these criteria. It doesn't just do that. It does to a certain extent in some of the supporting tests, but it's never just the same statement with one word changed in front of it. And I think that is really important because it gives you a much better sense of what we're looking at and what we're listening for. So it supports not just learning to play an instrument, but developing the musical skills. This is where the oral tests come in, the sight reading comes in. You may well be a pianist, but you may well play the violin as well. Or like me, you're a trumpet player and you have to play the piano as well. So it's developing those skills in a broader sense of your musicianship. And the oral training is, of course, completely relevant to anything we do as musicians, because without hearing what's going on, we can't really work. And then I'm going to talk a little bit. I've got another set of slides which I just put together the other day in reaction to what I'd heard during my teachers and students, actually. I mean, why not? To help you and support you. It tells you really about what happens. So do go to the website and look at all that stuff. I'm going to do that at the very end. So if you think, well, it'd be nice if they did that, or maybe they could do that differently, or why is it so difficult to do this, and why, you know, all of those things. Do speak to the Abrsm. They will listen. Things may not change immediately, but they will take things on board, and then it will be discussed. So don't just sit and go, oh, I wish they'd do that. Why don't they do this? Well, ask them. Do ask those questions. Do get in touch. I think the next one. Thank you, let's talk some more. Yes, I'll talk some more in a few minutes, but first of all, Sonia's going to come and talk some more. So
thank you to all of you. It's wonderful that Abrsm is back in Shillong, and we are here to stay. I'm there. Till my hands and legs are moving, I'm going to make sure we are going to go upwards. We are going to do better. Music is life. Music is in every aspect of our life. It is a language, it is history, it is physical education. We don't have to be musicians. We just put on the music system. How do we celebrate music in the church? By singing hymns. In happy times, we are singing hymns or singing, happy songs, and we also have music for when we are not so happy in our condolence meet. Our happy birthday, what do we sing? Happy birthday. So music is life, and which is why we are here to celebrate music through the Abrsm curriculum. More than 135 years old now. It's a board, I can tell you, maybe he's from the UK, so he has to say it, but I'm from India, and I have been an Indian tigress mom. I can say it has been the best board. My children did it, and I'm going to make sure my grandchildren do it. Okay? I've got to tell you why Abrsm is so respected. Do you all know, have you heard about Singapore, and why is it so famous, Singapore? Why is Singapore so famous? Singapore is well known for their academic institutions. They are the world's best universities, schools, and colleges out there. And Singapore has made it compulsory that every student should do music. It's not by choice, it is an academic subject because you're reading and writing and performing music. Okay? For example, the Class 8 Maths of India, ICSE, CBSE, and the local boards. Class 8 Maths of India is the Class 4 Maths of Singapore. Why? What's the difference? The difference is because the children were made to do music right from the kindergarten level, which made both sides of their brains work. For example, if you're playing the piano, you're playing different notes in both hands. Same thing with the guitar and same thing with the violin. Music is manure for your brain. What is manure in your local language? Somebody just say it loudly. Okay? So it's manure for your brains. It just makes you sharper, think better, and which is why China, Hong Kong, Malaysia, and Singapore, the kids are doing so well academically. We have, I can tell you, in Malaysia, Singapore, and Hong Kong, children who are Abrsm, I'm not talking about other boards, who are 8 or 9 years old children are doing grade 8 Abrsm exams. Why? Because they have been taught that way. And because of this, there's been a lot of research in, you all know about the universities, Harvard, Oxford, Stanford, Cornell. There's been a lot of research that has gone on that music is important and this curriculum should be integrated with the academic subject. And as I was talking, Singapore has integrated this. India is not far behind. Many academic schools in India, like the British school, the American school, Pathways, La Martiniere, City Montessori schools, Loreto Convent now, they are all, Loreto Convent Darjeeling, not Shillong, are all including the Abrsm curriculum within their academic subjects. It's being taught just the way a person is learning maths or history or one of the science subjects. So, because of all this, the admission officers, I always tell the parents, use your certificates as your fixed deposits. Today, you all are learning an instrument because you all are keen in learning an instrument and doing something with music. But I, from the management side, would say music is your gateway to the best universities of the world. Use this certification as your fixed deposit. That is very clear with me. Nothing else but Abrsm. So please go ahead and do. We are looking at exchange programs between intercity exchange program. We are doing one between Calcutta and Kalimpong in the month of March. And we would like to do between your cities as well. This time the high scorers concert. So the students who have got a distinction will be invited to go to Tura, because Tura gave us about 137 students, and there are too many, nearly 80 or 90 students have got distinctions out there. So the high scorers concert for this year, that will be in 2026, February or March, will be in Tura, and in 2027, we will do it in Shillong. So please continue making music, doing good work, and believe in this. You know, don't, children especially, these days the mobile phone and the screen time is taking a lot of your energy. Don't do that. Work on your music skills and it's going to take you, then the world is there for you. Just take it on. Thank you so much. Any questions, we can meet after this presentation, because I'd like to hand it over to my dear examiner, Mr. Jeffrey Williams. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. I'm just going to do another little exercise for you using your criteria, and then I'm going to talk about the other things apart from the pieces. So I'm just going to play, it's a grade 1 piece. I don't think anyone played this particular one to me today. I've tried to choose one that I haven't heard. I'm just going to play 2 versions. Okay. and see what you think of the first one, and then I'll play a different version. So again, looking at your criteria, see what you think of this. Anyone notice anything?
Was there a mistake towards the end?
Sorry?
Was there a mistake towards the end?
I can't hear you, sorry, you'll have to shout.
Was there a mistake at the end?
There were some mistakes, yeah. There were wrong notes which I corrected, some of them I corrected, some of them I didn't. What about the tone? Anybody, was it a nice tone? Was it an okay tone? Was it not very good at all? What do you think? Okay, rather than you all sit there still being a little bit shy about saying things, I'm just going to play you a different version now. Different qualities, there were dynamics coming in. The tone was more flexible, is a word I use a lot. The balance was better. I wasn't sort of just, hitting the notes all in the same way. And then hopefully the ending, there were crescendos, diminuendos, enjoy what you're doing, yeah? So don't worry about it. You practice to get to the point where you don't need to worry. And the time when we make the most mistakes is when we are worried that we haven't done enough preparation. And we know there's a bar coming up that we haven't really practiced enough. And we worry about that bar, so we make mistakes leading up to it, we make the mistake, and then we worry about it for the rest of the piece and make more mistakes. And we just needed to spend another 10 minutes on that one bar, and then the worries would have gone. Do the best job that can be done. So even if you don't feel completely prepared, but you have to get up there and do it, well, do the best job you can. And I like this one. And he said it a lot. Never practice, always perform. So even if you're sitting in your own little space practicing, imagine there is an audience. So you're actually performing all the time. So you don't just think, oh, well, we'll come to the concert, I'll put more dynamics in, I'll do a bit more. No, you won't. You have to practice your performance all the time. So you're always performing as a musician, even when you're sitting in your room on your own. And I hope that all makes sense. And that's about it. So any questions? Does anyone want to ask me any questions now? If you're too shy to stick your hand up, you can come and talk to me later. But do we have any questions about anything that I've said or anything to do with Abrsm? Throw them at me now and I will try and answer them if I can. Wow, we must have done a good job, Sonia. No questions. But please, we're not going to just disappear. Do come, and if you have any little questions, anything, whatever, if you're quick and you like cake, it even says Abrsm on it. So, but it's a bit messy, so I would suggest you take a small piece at a time. But thank you all for coming and being here and listening. Thank you for your playing, those of you who played to me during the week, and thank you to all our colleagues who have made all this possible. Thank you.